Hi, I'm Tim Bartz, Internet Sales Manager here at McArthur Ford in Salina, Kansas, your source for Ford news update and information, including your scheduling information on a Tuesday evening. We're going to cover scheduling information for those of you that are new and wondering, well, what are we talking about? If you have an order placed with your dealer, that order has to get scheduled for production dates. And we're talking about the chances of getting that scheduled in this video. What are some things to think about and everything in this video, as well as if the plants are going to be scheduling for your model this week or not. So we're going to dive in and talk about that. And this is one of those few weeks where we talk about what's going to happen for the whole month for May scheduling for those July production dates. We're going to talk about that this week. They're not going to be scheduling for those July production dates yet. That'll start happening probably next week. I know we had to have our numbers in by yesterday, so probably they're going to have everything figured out by the end of this week. Next week will probably be the first week for scheduling for those July production dates, but we'll go over the notes of what the goal is for the entire month for each of the different plants and different models at the end of this. So a very special section for that as we go through that. But first, let's talk about what's going to happen this week. But before we get into that, let's get into the terminology. So if you're new, please watch this next section. Talks about a lot of the different terminologies. It may answer some of your questions you have if this is first time watching one of these videos. So let's jump in and talk about this. So first of all, the order bank. Order bank is where the dealer places their orders, whether it be stock or retail orders are all placed in what they call the WebDO system, WBDO. That's where those orders are placed. A retail order type, that's a customer placed order. That's, if you're wanting to place an order with a dealer, Ford gives it, they want to know that it's a retail order. That means it's already sold. It means that you're ordering it, and when it comes in, you're going to take it. So that's what a retail order is. A stock order is an order that the dealer places to fulfill. If they don't have retail orders, but they have allocations, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, they need some stock orders in there so they can get those. And that's what you would see on your lots. And when you go over to dealerships and you look for a lot inventory, that is usually what they place those with. Now, priority code. That's a priority given to those orders by the dealer. Now, retail order type for a customer can be anyway, think from a 03 through a 19. Now, the default is a 19, but the dealer can put that order as an 03. The lower the better, which is what you see. The next is the stock. Stock priority is 20 to 80. And because the lower the better, retail orders are always looked at before a stock order for scheduling. And there's some weeks where they only will schedule retails that week. And that's not going to happen this week, but it'll start happening probably next week for those July production dates. Now, scheduling, that is when Ford schedules an order for a production date in the future months. And we're going to talk about what dates there's each plant and each model is scheduling for here as we go through each model. Allocations. Now, Ford gives dealers allocations to schedule the orders. A dealer needs an allocation to schedule an order in the order bank. So a dealer earns those allocations based on their sales of each model within their region or their state. So constraints, that's an option that may be in short supply or take longer to build. In the capacity, that's the planned production rate of a given motor, trim, or option. And so sometimes the capacity is low on certain trim levels on certain models, and sometimes they're high on certain ones. So knowing those capacities helps us plan and figure out how long it might take for your order to get scheduled. Now, job 1 and 2, and sometimes a 3, that's production is split into different job runs. And that's so that if Ford needs to, they can introduce something at job 2, which we typically see that maybe it's not ready at the start of production, but they need to get it launched. And sometimes it's new features because some people don't necessarily need that new feature, but they want to get their vehicle. Maybe it's for business, something like that. So that's why they'll introduce that stuff at job 2. And sometimes if they need to make changes, if there's some supply issues there that they can't produce vehicles with a certain package because of certain things, they can make those changes into those packages for job 2. And then job 3 as well. Now, balance out, that's the end of production or the balance out of a particular model or option. We actually have one model that is balancing out and for July production dates, not this month, but next month for scheduling for those July dates. We do have one model that is balancing out for 25 model year, and it's going to start working towards 26 model year. So there you go. That's the different terminologies there. And again, the big key on this is, especially when you get into those later weeks within a month. And I know this is for like the first full week of May, but we're still working off those April production or April allocations. and scheduling information for those June production dates. And for that reason, your dealer's probably going to be limited on what allocations they have. And I actually have written down for us how many allocations we have, or how many. Actually, we don't have allocations for next month, but for this month, I can kind of look and see what our allocations are, because I forgot to write that down. So let me pull that up. But we'll go through that as we go through the models. Now, your dealer can do the same thing. If you have an unscheduled order and we're getting to the end, your dealer would need an allocation. And for most models, they probably don't have any allocations except for like F-150 or Super Duty, more than likely. So let's get into this. First off, the 25 model year Mustang. So the Mustang, I actually put my glasses on for this. So the Mustang does have 632 unscheduled retail orders nationally in the order bank. They are scheduling this week. Cleanup scheduling, again, that means that they're wanting to make sure that all the dealers don't have any allocations going into next week. They are scheduled for the weeks of June 2nd through the weeks of June 23rd. And they're looking for very specific things that they can finish out their full production run for June. And with that, the best availability is the optional 19 by 8.5 inch premium polished aluminum wheel. That's available on all versions except for Dark Horse. They also are needing some EcoBoost orders. So for them to be at full capacity in production for June, they need some EcoBoost orders with the optional wheel set. So that is the standard wheel is an 18 by 8.5 inch, or 18 by 8 inch machine face aluminum wheel, the high gloss painted pockets. They're exhausted. So they're needing some with the optional wheel. Also, the exhaust availability for the Night Pony package, the wheel that we just mentioned, as well as a GT Premium standard wheel. That's that 19 by 8.5 inch shadow silver painted aluminum wheel, that 64V, and the black painted roof. So more than likely, if you have those on your option, you're going to need to wait till next month to get that done. Or again, a dealer needs an allocation. All right. Next up is the 25. Oh, and I was going to tell you on Mustang, we only have one unscheduled retail order, and it is for a Dark Horse. So we Ford pumped in and used our allocation on a different order, but we were told we're going to get a Dark Horse allocation next month. So that ought to help that person out. All right. Next up is a 25 model year Escape. Currently, there's 531 unscheduled retail orders in order bank. We actually have 0 unscheduled retail orders in our order bank for our customers. Of course, we're out of allocations for this month, but there's cleanup scheduling this week. Scheduling for the weeks of 6/2 through 6/23. And again, a dealer needs an allocation to fulfill that. So if you have an order at a dealer, you just placed it, you're probably going to need to wait till next week because most dealers are out, but there could be a select few out there. It does say scheduling orders for active version only, featuring the gas engine this month. All right. Next up is a 25 model year Bronco Sport. Currently 134 unscheduled retail orders in order bank. We have 0 right now. And we have no allocations. Of course, we used all of ours for this month, and they are not going to be scheduling for the Bronco Sport this week. So, of course, they're getting ready. Pretty much, they're pumped up and ready to go for their June production, and then they're ready to move on to July. Next up is the 25 model year Bronco. There's currently only 709 unscheduled retail orders in order bank. We have 0 actually right now. We got all of ours, including our manual, scheduled. And then, yeah, we have no allocations because we got them all scheduled. We do have this week, they are scheduling at the Bronco plant, Michigan Assembly Plant, for those June dates, the weeks of June 2nd through the weeks of June 23rd. Cleanup scheduling, again, a dealer needs an allocation, right? Comes down to that. But if a dealer has an allocation, more than likely it's because they used all the retail orders and they need some stocks put in there. So here's a configuration that Ford is saying, this is how you can use your allocation. We need some 4-door, 2.7 liter Badlands. So they need some of those. So they'll need those without the black appearance package. And then it says free demand on Sasquatch package for the Badlands. So that's pretty cool. All right. Exhaust availability for the 2-door configuration, the 2.3 liter engine, the base, Big Ben, Outer Banks, Strop, Raptor, Heritage Edition, Black Diamond package, and Outer Banks series with the painted roof, and Badlands with the painted roof. So really, there's like, if a dealer has an allocation, you got to put in that Badlands 2.7 order without the black appearance package and without the black painted and the body colored painted roof to use that allocation. So, all right. Next up is the 25 model year Mustang Mach-E. Currently 188 unscheduled retail orders in order bank. We have 0 in ours, and they were not scheduled this week for the Mach-E plant. Now, also the order banks are open for every model still right now, just so you're aware of that. I normally go over that, but I didn't. Next up, 25 model year Explorer. Currently 753 unscheduled retail orders in order bank. We have 0 as well on that one, and they are not scheduling this week as well. Like I said, most of the plants have already planned out the production for June, and they're ready to move on to July, which is going to start happening next week. Next up, 25 model year Expedition. Currently 1,584 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. We actually have 5 unscheduled retail orders, but we have no allocations to be able to get those scheduled. They are not scheduled this week at the Kentucky truck plant for the Expedition. That's that. Next up, 25 model year Maverick. There's currently 3,193 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. We have 4 unscheduled retail orders. We have no allocations left. They got all of them used up last week. They are scheduled this week for May and June production dates. Of course, they're not producing the last week of June. So let's keep that in mind. They are doing cleanup scheduling. Again, a dealer needs an allocation to get it used. But if a dealer does have an allocation, they probably don't have any retail orders. And here is what you need to use that allocation if you're wanting to get a stock one, and that is front-wheel drive hybrid order. Plain and simple. And it's a great property to have. So put that order in if you're a dealer. Put in that XLT or XL hybrid front-wheel drive order. The thing will sell fast. Trust me, we have 0 XLs in stock and 0 hybrids in stock. They'll go. Just put the order in. Trust me. Exhaust availability for the trimmer. They're not scheduling the trimmer this for June. That's why it's exhausted. And very limited exhaust availability for the all-wheel drive. That's not the advanced all-wheel drive. That is the regular all-wheel drive. Also the 2.0 EcoBoost and the black appearance package. And it didn't mention here, but Lobo as well, I believe. All right, that's that. Next up, 25 model year Ranger. Currently 463 unscheduled retail orders in order bank. We have 20 Raptor unscheduled orders with 0 allocations. We used our regular Ranger allocations already. They are not scheduled this week either. So it looks like Michigan Assembly Plant has already planned their production for June, and they're ready to move to July, which will start happening probably next week. All right, next up is the 25 model year Super Duty. Currently 5,571 unscheduled retail orders in order bank. We only have 19 unscheduled, and we do have some allocations this week. We do have 25 allocations left to be used, so we might get lucky. It does say they're only going to schedule 5 of our 25, which is weird. But maybe some of those will carry over to next month. But we have allocations to hopefully schedule most of those orders. They are scheduled this week at Kentucky Truck Plant for the Super Duty for the weeks of 5/19 through the weeks of 6/9, and also at Ohio Assembly Plant for the weeks of 5/26 to the weeks of 6/9. And don't forget, they are still needing more gas orders and more regular cab and super cab orders. We say this every week, week in and week out, and we're tired of hearing it as dealers. You're probably tired of hearing me say it too, but they're needing some F250, 350 XL or XLT orders with the 7.3 or the gas engine for the regular or super cab configuration without the bucket seats. So they want the bench seat configuration. Very limited exhaust availability for the 7.3 liter gas with that Torque G transmission. So basically, the best way to be able to order a 7.3 right now gas engine is to go trimmer. That gets you the same transmission as the diesels get. Also, very limited exhaust availability for that 450, the F550, the crew cab, the Lariat version, as well as the 20-inch machine in ebony, black, high gloss, black premium painted aluminum wheel that's included in the black appearance package. The 4x4 front axles available in the 450, 550, 600 with the 4.3 or the 4.88 regular rear axle, and then the bucket seats with the XLT. So that's some of the hangups for this week. And again, that hopefully we'll get some of that get cleared up next week when we go into full production for July production dates. All right, that's that. All right, next up is a 25 model year F-150. Currently 5,068 unscheduled retail orders in order bank. We have 22 unscheduled retail orders right now, and it looks like we have 1 allocation left. One allocation. It's a Lightning allocation that's left. So, which we'll get into Lightning in a second. And they are scheduled this week at Dearborn Truck Plant, not in Kansas City, it looks like, for the weeks of 6/9 to the weeks of 6/23. And then, of course, same note as always, 5.0 liter STX is retail only. They are needing 3.5 hybrid. It's in free demand. Place it, you should get it. No scheduling for STX orders with the STX Black Appearance Package this week. Retail order or required orders, they need those hybrids, and they need some Raptors that aren't Raptor R's. So they need Raptor 801A or 802A orders. Very limited exhaust availability for the 18-inch chrome wheel that's standard on XLT. Also, the 18-inch gloss black wheel that's included in the XLT Black Appearance Package, and the 3.5 EcoBoost engine. So, again, most dealers probably don't have allocation. So, Lightning says very limited exhaust availability for the 511A, which is a Lariat version, but not on the others. They are scheduled this week for the weeks of 6/23. And again, we have one allocation, but 0 orders, I believe, for they might have had one. I think we had somebody that was interested in one, so we might be able to get them scheduled this week. Next up, 25 model year Transit. Currently 919 unscheduled retail orders in order bank. We actually have one unscheduled retail order this right now. No allocations, though, for Transit. They are scheduled this week for the weeks of 6/2 to the weeks of 6/16. Cleanup scheduling with no notes in there. So there you go. There's that. All right. So that's all the information for this week. Now, like I said, we get to do something special once a month, and that is go over what the scheduling looks like. That should start for next week for May allocations to be used in those July production dates. So let's talk about each model and what is scheduling at what plant and for how many weeks. All right. Now, this goes a different order than we did before. I don't know why Ford doesn't put it in the same order, but 25 model year Mustang Mach-E. They are scheduled for 5 weeks of production. It says for the weeks of 6/30 to the weeks of July 28th. Limited availability on the 19-inch optional select wheel. Also limits the sport appearance package, too, which is part of that premium. It's available on the premium. No other notes there. 25 model year Mustang. They are going to be scheduled for 4 weeks of production, the weeks of 7/7 to the weeks of 7/28. Does say in here for the first time, GT Performance Package is now available for stock orders for dealers. And then Dark Horse is going to be scheduled for 4 weeks of production, same dates. Does say them limited on the performance pack handling package, so very limited production numbers, less than 50%, and limited in that limited appearance package. So there's where, like, we have an order for a Dark Horse that's going to be difficult to get scheduled because it is that handling package and it's that appearance package. So I believe so. That's a struggle there. If you're in that situation, that's difficult. This week, this is the balance out for 60th anniversary. So if you're wanting that, get that in with your dealer. They are scheduled for 4 weeks of production in July, same dates as Mustang there. All right, next up is a 25 model year Escape and the plug-in. Both are scheduling for 4 weeks of production for the weeks of July 7th to the weeks of July 28th. Active all-wheel drive is back, it says. They need some hybrid orders, and they said 0% platinum and 0% ST line select with the 2.0 all-wheel drive. So there's notes on that. No real notes on the plug-in, though. So, all right, next up is the 25 model year Bronco. They're going to be scheduled for 4 weeks of production as well, the weeks of 7/7 to the weeks of 7/28. Big Ben will be 30% of the production that they're going to schedule for. They need some 2.7 Badlands orders with the 4-door configuration. Also, it says they did a great job. A lot of people ordered heritage orders, which is what they needed. So they did commend us on that. And then Raptor scheduling for 4 weeks of production to go online with the Bronco lineup. So, all right, next up is the 25 model year Bronco Sport, scheduled for 4 weeks of production. It says, okay, well, I don't know about that because it says it's scheduling for the weeks of, should be the weeks of 7/7 through 7/28. They have the date in here wrong. 0% Big Ben Black Appearance Package and 0% freewheeling. And this will be the startup for job 3 for the Bronco Sport. So we'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. We got some notes about the changes for job 3 on those in just a second. All right, next up, 25 model year Explorer. Going to be scheduled for 4 weeks of production. Yes, the same date, 7/7 through 7/28. Improved 2.3 mix. So it's now 66% production of 2.3 liter engine. That does help the active and ST line get scheduled. So, and then 25 model year Expedition, 4 weeks of production as well. Yes, you guessed it, 7/7 through 7/28. Active will be 0% production. They need some Platinum Stealth again, both packages, and they need some trimmers. So, all right. That's the only note I have on that. 25 model year Maverick, scheduled for 4 weeks of production for the weeks of, again, they did a typo in here, 7/7 through 7/28. Their plan is going to be down the week of 6/23 at Bronco Sport and Maverick. On Maverick, they need more hybrid front-wheel drive orders and no trimmer again this week. So if you had a trimmer order in, they didn't schedule for June production. They're not scheduling for July production either. Not sure why. Don't ask me. All right. Next up, 25 model year Ranger. 4 weeks of production. Again, the weeks of 7/7 through 7/28. Retractable tonneau cover is no longer available to order on the Ranger. So take that off your order. Otherwise, it'll sit there and not get scheduled. All right. That's all I have for Ranger. 25 F-150. 4 weeks of production, the weeks of 7/7 through 7/28. They need more 2.7 liter orders. Don't forget hybrids in free demand, and consider removing the moonroof on non-hybrids. So you can see they're going to give hybrid all at once. You could put all kinds of stuff on that hybrid and probably get scheduled, but take that moonroof off non-hybrids to get scheduled. That's all I have. Next up, 25 model year Super Duty. July balance out. So they are balancing out. They're going to be scheduling for the weeks of 6 weeks of production for the weeks of 7/7 through the weeks of August 11th. So they're going to be producing through into the middle of August for the Super Duty. They need some XL, XLT, F350 orders with the 7.3 regular Super Cab orders. Kentucky truck plant is only going to be scheduled for 2 weeks, it looks like. In Ohio for 6 weeks. So, wow, we're pretty much Kentucky is pretty much where everything with the beds are built. So that's all your crew cabs and such. So they're only going to schedule for 2 weeks and then they're done. And they're going to move on to 26. Yeah. Next up, 25 model year Transit. Oh, wait. Let me go back to F-150. Raptor. They will be scheduled for 4 weeks of production for Raptor and Raptor R. To go along with the regular F-150s, and the 65% production for 801A, 35% for 802A. All right, and Ranger Raptor is scheduled 4 weeks as well. I think I've left that off too. All right, 25 Transit, 4 weeks of production, weeks of 7/7 through 7/28 at Kansas City assembly plant, and it says here 630 week is down. High roof passenger van will be 3% production. All right. And then 25 model year F-150 Lightning, 4 weeks of production as well to go along with the regular gas F-150s. 20% of the production will be the XLT. 45% will be Flash, which is actually low. 27% Lariat, which is higher than it was. And Platinum will be 8%. So there you go. And I have a note on Platinum here, just a little bit on a package you can add to that for only $1,000. E-Transit, 4 weeks of production as well, and they need orders from dealers to commit to allocation from prior months. We did that, so we were good there. So, all right. So that's that information. A couple of other things. Order banks. Order banks are open for every model, including the Super Duty, but it will probably be closing soon. No reason to really. I think at this point, if you haven't ordered 25 Super Duty, it might be too late for you. But I'd get that order in pretty quick. But those order banks are open up for everything right now. So there you go. All right. And then just a little note for U300 dealers. So U300 is dealers that sell less than 300 units the entire year. And so because they're smaller dealers, Ford does want to make sure if you have a retail order in at those smaller dealers, you don't get left out. So the vehicles are eligible for the special. Basically, if you have a retail order, they get a special priority code to make sure those retail orders get scheduled at those small dealers. So about every model is eligible for this, with the exception of on the Super Duty 450s. So they are not eligible for that. So if you have a F450 order or a Maverick XL in at a small dealer, you might consider putting that order in at a bigger dealer. And I hate to say that to the small dealers, but on the Maverick XL is excluded from this, on the Maverick as well as on the Super Duty 450 and on the Transit passenger vans. So those are the three exclusions for those U300 dealers. So, but anything else, they should help you out and get you scheduled at that small dealer. A little note on Mustang, they need EcoBoost orders. So they actually put out a little sheet talking to dealers about, hey, here's some great package discount options you can do to get some EcoBoost orders and to really help that volume. Like right now, it looks like they have a couple wheels that are constrained. So because of that, they said, hey, add these different wheel options. There's one with a 19-inch by 8.5-inch premium polished wheel, 842 it looks like, that's available. You can put that, as well as option B is a 20-inch by 9-inch premium painted aluminum wheel. That's available on 200 and 201A only. And then there's also a Sinister bronze wheel, 19 by an 8.5-inch, that's available as well. So anyway, encourage dealerships to do that. All right. Next up is on Bronco Sport and Maverick. This is job 3. So July will be job 3 production startup. And so basically, if you're not scheduled by this week for production date, you'll have a job 3 Maverick or Bronco Sport. And what's that change? For the Maverick, that 2.0 EcoBoost engine, if you live in one of those the federal emission states like California, those CARB states, I think there's 17 of them, then your dealership will, if your order will automatically get a option 425 put on there, which means it'll get a gas filter. So don't need to worry about no loss of production. You're still going to have the same horsepower as the job 2. You just have that filter on there. Now for Bronco Sports, EcoBoost as well, the 2.0. So this is the Badlands edition. So it'll have it as well. It'll have that gas filter too, and automatically put on those California states. Now, if you're not in a California state, you can add the option if you're in some of those other exclusion states that are near those states. So anyway, there you go. There's that. All right. Now on the F-150 Lightning, don't forget they were needing some platinum orders, and they wanted to remind dealers, hey, there's a great package for only $1,000. You can add that. It's a dark elements package, option 19B, and that gets you the 22-inch black aluminum wheels, the black Nirvana leather seats, the black ovals, black extra badging. It just looks pretty sharp. So you can add that to it. So it's it's not too bad of a little package there if you want to do that. Also on Super Duty, I think it might be the last thing. Yeah, Super Duty. Couple notes. One of them we had mentioned actually in the live stream last week, and that is the standard XLT wheel is balanced out. So if you have an order on an XLT, you want to make sure that you add an optional wheel or add a package that comes with a different wheel. So it says the current standard Lariat wheel will become the standard XLT wheel now. So that is 64C. So it looks like they're actually, because dealerships maybe aren't pulling that off, they're just giving that Lariat wheel an upgrade. So that's pretty awesome for some of these because it's a really nice looking wheel. Also, don't forget, if you have the black appearance package or the trimmer, you don't have to worry about this because it'll come with a different wheel anyway. So, all right. And then also, they mentioned the best configuration. Again, this is 25 model year balance out. So they want to give dealers the best intent to use their allocations and to schedule those orders. So the best available configuration is F250s with the trimmer and F350. And I think they mean F350 with the trimmer. So we've had really good luck getting trimmer scheduled. And then also regular and super cab, if you have one of those configurations, XL, XLT, or Lariat as well. And then a 7.3 liter gas or the 6.7 liter diesel, non-high output for that. And then don't forget about the black appearance package. So that is their scheduling. That's some things we've noticed is we've had a lot of black appearance packages get scheduled. And that comes with the, the black running boards, black 20-inch wheels, the black ovals, the body colored bumpers, wheel well liner, spray and bed liner, the dark fender badge for the Lariat, and the black painted mirror caps for the Lariat as well. So available on the XLT and Lariat with the single rear wheel, short bed. They don't say that in here. Short bed, F250 or 350. So may think about doing that as well. All right. That's all I have for this week. Hopefully you guys did get some information from that. And good luck if you have an order that's unscheduled, you're needing to get it scheduled again. For your chances, a dealer needs an allocation. I'll say it and say it again. Without an allocation, you're not going to get scheduled. That's the currency for dealers. Allocation helps you get an order scheduled. So this week may not be the week for you, but next week, hopefully, going over the notes here, that we'll get a new set of allocations starting for next week. Most dealerships should know their allocations or have put in their supplements if they need to. And we should get those final numbers on Friday so you can talk to your dealers next week about their chances of getting scheduled for those July production dates if you miss this week. So, all right, that's all I have for this week. Drop your comments down below if you have any questions as well down there. If you're watching this the day it goes out, the time it goes out, we are going to be live. Bring your questions over to the live stream. I can answer those questions live or drop them down in the comments and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Other than that, make sure you're subscribed with that bell notification turned on so you don't miss any of these videos. Thanks for watching this one, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Stay positive. Be kind to one another. Be kind to yourself, and we'll see you in that next video.